Welcome to Arcades, the strategist. As far as our opening hand goes, yeah, we'll keep on this one. You know, we could mulligan if we wanted to, but we've got 5 lanes in the hand. We've got a protection against Grixis, which is always nice. And we have Gurk Wildspeaker. If we can get Gurk Wildspeaker to stick, hey, we will take it. And also, we do have a Scurry land, a little Scry, a little Fever. So this is a perfectly fine hand to keep for a bunch of defenders that we're trying to get on the battlefield. See if our opponent wants to, I think they mulligan down to 5. So let's let them get this mulligan process sorted out, and then we'll jump into the game. Okay, and our opponent did mulligan down to 5, but we're not setting any land speed records with our opening hand, so hopefully it'll all balance out. So, but yes, welcome to some Arcades. It's been a very long time since we've cast defenders and drawn a bunch of cards. I'm really excited about that. So it's going to lead off with Temple of Enlightenment. Let's get the Scry going, the Scurry, the Fever, the Insanity, a little bit of Descendant to Madness if you're keeping score. And opponents can go for Vampiric Tutor. So let them get that resolved, and then we'll see what this Scurry has in store for us. All right, there we go. Let's get the Scry going. Let's see, Mystical Tutor. Yep, we'll put that on top. I think I do like that. It's going to allow us to grab a ramp spell, which is going to be very nice for us. So, anything else? Let's pass it over to our opponent. We're playing Arcades, the strategist, flying and vigilance. Whenever a creature with Defender enters the battlefield under your control, draw a card. Each creature you control, Defender, assigns combat damage equal to its toughness rather than its power, and can attack as though it did not have Defender. Playing against Nicol, Bolas, the Ravager. He's hungry. Do we want to... Mystical, yeah, that's, I mean, our opponents feels like we're playing against Modern Affinity. Let's go and get this popped out. I think at this point, we could go for 3 visits if we want to try to sneak in. I mean, we've got 5 lands, so yeah, I think we can just end up going for like a little 2-mana ramp spell. I think that'll be pretty good. So let's grab ourselves 3 visits. It's going to go on top of our library. Let's go ahead and lead off with Sun Petal Grove. That way we're not tempted to crack Fabled Passage or Marsh Flats and shuffle it away. So that way we have it coming to play tap. So anything else, pass it to our opponent. So playing against Nicol Bolas, the Ravager, flying. Whenever Nicol Bolas enters the battlefield, each opponent discards a card. Then for a 7-mana activation, exile Nicol Bolas, then return him to the battlefield as a planeswalker. Has a +2, draw 2 cards, -3, deals 10 damage to target creature or planeswalker, -4, put target creature or planeswalker card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. Then for a -12, exile all but the bottom card of target player's library. So there we go. Our opponent does have Kess on the battlefield with Vampiric Tutor in the graveyard. Now our opponent is tapped out on blue mana, so we're going to stick this 3 visits pretty quick. So let's go for 3 visits. Grab ourselves a blue-green source for sure. And during each of your turns, you may cast an instant or sorcery. So that should turn Vampiric Tutor off, I think. That should be correct, because they should have done it during their turn. So hopefully we get this 3 visits to stick, and then we'll get... Yep, there we go. That's it. Sequencing. I'm guilty of doing stuff like that all the time. So you just get ahead of yourself. You're like, oh yeah, I'll do this on their turn. That'll be perfect. So I do that a lot of the time. So we've got Breeding Pool. Yeah, we've got Fetch Land. So at this point, let's just go and grab Breeding Pool. There's nothing else that we really need to go for because we're looking at 2 mana. So we'll have that come into play tapped. We're going to hold on to Marsh Flats just in case we run into Jace or something like Brains or like some card advantage or something like that. Let's go and lead off with Fabled Passage. Let's go ahead and crack Fabled Passage. Go and grab ourselves a basic. We do have at least triple green between the battlefield and our hand. So let's just go and grab... Actually, we do have kind of a lot of weird planes, like double white spell. So we'll grab ourselves a planes and then just kind of threaten path to exile, which is always nice. And then anything else, pass it over our opponent. So we need to cover both commanders. Give a quick shout out to our sponsors, TCG Player. If you go to bit.ly/Jolt MTG, and oh, there they go. They're going to do it during their upkeep, so they still get to cast it. But yeah, if you go to bit.ly/Jolt MTG, that will apply my affiliate link on TCG Player. You can click on that link, or you can actually just click on the actual deck link down in the description below. That will apply the affiliate code that'll allow you to get some cards and help support the channel at the same time. So if you do that, hey, much obliged. In fact, it's the best way to support the channel if you're not a patron. So just use that TCG link. All you got to do is click on it, and you're good to go. Also, let's give a quick shout out to MTGOTraders. If you're going to play, get into digital commander, your local gaming store is not firing, or they don't have, you can't play in your area yet, MTGOTraders has all the commander cards that you need. Be sure to check them out. And also, let's give a quick shout out to inkgaming.com. If you go to inkgaming.com/Jolt, I do have some neon playmats over there that I've recently designed, Calamax and Zahara. So if you want to check those out, they may not be up yet, but they will be up sometime soon. And last but not least, I started a Patreon. So if you'd like to directly support cool content like this, there's a link down in the description below. But if you are keeping score at home, I got to check my score sheet. It looks like it is officially free time, so let's do that. We do have Arcades option to go for, but with them having Obnixilis on the battlefield, that's going to make it really hard for us to keep Arcades down. And at this point right now, they're just kind of going for the Nicol Bolas game plan or bust. So one thing that we can do to try to fight that is going to be ramping as quickly as possible. So let's go and do that. So let's go for Kodama's Reach. Let's go and grab ourselves another island. Have that come down. We'll grab ourselves a forest too. Why not? Let's have an island go onto the battlefield. Forest goes into our hand. Let's make an extra. And maybe we could have sequenced that better with Gurk Wildspeaker, but I think with Kess swinging across, yeah, we'll try to do that next turn. So maybe we might be able to kind of jam a Teferi's Protection to protect Gurk Wildspeaker. Let's go and lead off with Forest. And then anything else is going to pass it over to our opponent. So, but yeah, it's free time. Let's have some fun. Now, as far as Arcades goes, if you haven't seen Arcades before, main game plan is cast Defender, draw card. That is typically what we want to do. Now, one of the ways that we can amplify that is by including stuff like Panharmonicon. We do have Venser in here. That's one of the things that you want to do is get to the point to where you can have Arcades down, keep Arcades protected, and then start deploying out your defenders and really generating that card advantage. One other thing that really also does help, and that's going to be Nicol Bolas. I think at this point, what we'll probably do is get rid of Forest, because we still have a land drop for next turn. We'll click OK. Now, that does leave Nicol Bolas, the Ravager, being able to flip for 7. That's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So they have exactly just enough mana to get Nicol Bolas to flip. We'll figure out exactly what we want to end up doing. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. At least we do have 7 mana available, and that's going to be Arcades into Teferi's Protection. Past that, it's not looking so hot for us. And plus, we're about to get to that Obnixilis ultimate too, so we got to get something moving on our side of the battlefield. So let's see what we draw into. Overgrown Battlement. That is nice. That hopefully sets us up for a pretty good turn next turn. Let's go and crack Marsh Flats, because we want to have this land active. If we can. So let's go and get this popped out. Let's go and grab ourselves a Tundra. Let's have Arcades come down. Let's going to tap down the basics first. That way we have as much colored mana as possible. Let's have Arcades come down, and then we do have Teferi's Protection online. So we're not going to cast a Defender into that, because next turn, what we're trying to do is hopefully get them to either go for that Obnixilis activation with that -3, and then using Teferi's Protection. If we have to burn it now, we have to burn it now. But either way, that'll at least kind of phase us out until your next turn. So that's going to be draw 2 cards, discard 2 cards. Yeah, that's perfectly fine. Go and go for that. But yeah, you do want to amplify the effects going into the battlefield, stuff like Panharmonicon. That really does kind of accelerate your game plan. But also, it is just important to be running stuff like Tetsuko and Sidar, because being able to swing in unblockable with just an entire board state, that is some good magic. So let's see what they end up going for. Argument could be made that they end up going for the +1 to get to that 8, and then just maybe kind of holding back. They do have 2 flyers in the air, so if we can somehow survive this turn without having to burn Teferi's Protection, I really do like that. But if they get Nicol Bolas to flip, we'll see if they end up going for Nicol Bolas. But yeah, and I think that's what they're exactly going for now, because they have no cards in hand. So they're going to get Nicol Bolas to flip. Let's see what activation they do end up going for. It's going to flip Nicol Bolas, bring it back. If we had some spot removal in response to that trigger, that would have been beautiful, but we do not. So they're going to go for... Okay, so we're going to have double Planeswalkers on the battlefield, partner. Okay, let's see what they decide to go for with this one. Gain control. All right, so we're going to go for Teferi's Protection in response to that. Still not looking good. We're almost looking for... I don't know what we're trying to go for next turn, but at least we can cast 2 defenders next turn. That's going to be 2 card draws. So we phase out from Nicol Bolas right out of his grasp. So feel pretty good about that. Yeah, the only downside is... No, we do have Concordant Crossroads. So we can deploy that out with defenders at the same time. Maybe? Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what's happening. All right, so we phase back in. Shield Sphere is definitely a wonderful way to get that started. So let's go and lead off with Shield Sphere. Let's see if we can't dig ourselves out of this one. So let's have... And look at Shield Sphere. Look at that art, man. I know Arcades was happy when he decided to sign up for the Defender army. All right, so we run into Chromatic Lantern. Let's go for Overgrown Battlement. That's going to be one of the cheaper defenders we can get down without having to tap out our mana. So let's go for Overgrown Battlement. That's going to be another card draw. Ooh. We rip into Crossroads. Okay, let's go. Okay, I mean, I think we kind of got something here. Let's go for, yeah, I guess we need to get Geist down. That way we can draw into, we might rip into another defender. Oh, that was beautiful. All right, so we have Geist come down, and we'll see. I mean, the main thing is we might be able to kind of dodge that Wall of Junk. I love that card too. All right, so let's go for Crossroads. That's going to give everybody haste. So we've got some options to go for. So they've got one creature they can block. So if we end up sending two of our creatures and at least one Planeswalker, I think at this point, with us being at 23, they draw a card. We might be able to dodge it on Nixilis Ultimate. My main concern is getting rid of both Nicol Boluses on the battlefield, and we have just enough to take care of that. So let's go ahead and push in. Yeah, I think we need to do that. So let's swing in with Geist at Nicol Bolas. Man, what a beautiful draw. Let's swing in at Nicol Bolas the Arisen. Nicol Bolas the Arisen. That was kind of weird. All right, it's 2 at Risen. Let's swing in at Nicol Bolas Planeswalker. Swing in at Nicol Bolas Planeswalker. So that way we're covered. So let's just make sure 1, 2, and 1, 2. Okay. Yeah, I think we can dodge the Omnixilis Ultimate. It's not going to be fun. Our life total is going to get down pretty low, but I think we can dodge it. Hopefully we can. All right, so we're going to be able to, and then we also have another defender to go for next turn with Wall of Junk. All right, so we get rid of the Omnixilis Planeswalkers, the Super Mario Brothers out there, and then anything else. Let's go and pass it over to our opponent. So now they do have Haste 2. They only have one card in the hand. If they spend the turn going for that Omnixilis Ultimate, then that's it. We kind of go from there. If they plus up on one, then it kind of freezes up for next turn. So, but that's one of the fun things about this Arcades deck is, all right, so they do go for the emblem. We've got ourselves a clock. Let's go for it. They've got Kess, which is going to be Izzet Charm out of the graveyard. We'll see what else they can draw into. The only thing that we don't want to see would be some sort of yeah, whenever a player draws a card, if they have some sort of pull from tomorrow or something like that to draw a ton of cards, that would not be good. But at this point, I kind of like where we're at. We've got Wall of Junk coming down. That's a 0/7, so they're gonna have to get some sort of board state developed. Either way, just being able to knock out 2 Planeswalkers with Shield Sphere, Overgrown Battlement, and Geist. That is a pretty good feeling. And as we get more defenders on the battlefield with Overgrown Battlement, that's going to give us a lot of extra oh yeah, Life's Finale. I forgot about that being in the graveyard. Okay, that's going to destroy all creatures. But the good thing about us is that we can, let's see, and then search your library for up to 3. Search target opponent's library for 3 cards. Put them in the graveyard, and then shuffle their library. Yeah, we don't really have a ton of good stuff out there in our deck. It's a bunch of defenders, so go for it. Let's see what they end up grabbing off of Life's Finale. Okay, so Life's Finale does get exiled. That does get rid of Kess, which does get rid of that card draw source. And if we can just outdraw our opponent, we might be able to steal a win on this one. Because I don't know if they have just enough to get down Nicol Bolas and go for that activation. So, all right, so we do have the Omnixilis clock going. Whew. Let's go for, I guess, our best bet out of this one. If we end up going for Gurk Wildspeaker, untap a couple different lands, because we need to go for card draw pretty bad. But if we just rolled out Arcades with no follow-up plan, yeah, I think we just Wildspeaker this turn. So let's have Seaside Citadel come down. Let's go for Gurk Wildspeaker, because that really does help us out for mana next turn, and also kind of work towards that Stampede, which really does work out. We've got Chromatic Lantern too. That's going to be 1, 2, 3. And then let's go ahead and plus up, because we just want to get to that Stampede effect as quickly as possible. So untap a Seaside Citadel, and let's go ahead and untap. Either way, it doesn't matter. We've got Chromatic Lantern, but we'll untap those 2 lands, and then anything else, pass it over our opponent. So the only other thing that we do have to watch out for is Concordant Crossroads does give everything haste on the battlefield. So if they do end up going for Nicol Bolas, we are looking at Gurk Wildspeaker getting hit by Nicol Bolas. We'll see. We see what they want to go for, because our opponent could just swing in at us and try to chip away at our life total, and then maybe put us in this weird spot. Oh, we have to sacrifice an enchantment. Okay, so that's gonna be Crossroads. We can still do something with that. All right, so let's see if they end up going for Nicol Bolas. They still have 1 card left in the hand. That's going to be, oh my goodness, we cannot escape Nicol Bolas. I'm digging this. Let's get the commander closed down just a little bit, baby commander. And our opponent did go for the -3, destroying Gurk Wildspeaker. So at least we do have a follow-up with Arcades and a Wall of Junk. It's going to be another card draw. Yeah, let's go for Arcades. We'll get down Wooded Foothills. That's going to be Arcades. Okay, so it's going to be Arcades. Let's go for Wall of Junk. And that's going to be another card draw. If we get another defender, oh yeah. There we go. All right, this is going to be another card draw. Let's go for a Shield Ward. Or Stalwart, excuse me. This is going to be another card draw. Bonded Fetch. Okay. Oh, and then it does have Haste. Okay. Anything else? Let's go and pass the turn. So next turn, we do have at least 12 coming across. That's going to be 12. Other creatures you control Defender have +2/+2. So that's going to be 16, 19. We might... Oh, we have to exile something. Oh, that's a bummer. We'll exile Bonded Fetch. Okay. So that doesn't, we get rid of that Haste option. That's going to be another card draw for us. Let's see if we can grind this one out. I mean, we can send Arcades in, but we are getting the point now to, oh, that's going to be Dreadbore. Okay. We tried to live the dream with Arcades today. At least we made Nicol Bolas sweat. That's pretty much all you're trying to do with Arcades. So we'll see what we draw into next turn. If we don't hit anything good, we're probably still going to deploy Arcades out there just to have something to work towards. With us being at 9, I think we're pretty much on borrowed time at this point right now. So it's going to be Nicol Bolas entering the battlefield. It's going to force us to discard a non-existent card in our hand and then pass it over to us. So we do have Wall of Junk and Stalwart Shield at this point. If we do tap out for Arcades, we can still swing in and kind of complicate it for our opponent if we want to. Let's see. So we've got Worldly Tutor. That's going to go on top. But I don't think we can do anything with that. All right, this is going to be another card draw. That puts us down to 7. I think either way, we still go for Arcades. Arcades is going to be 8 total mana. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, we've got enough to still leave up Worldly Tutor. So let's go for Arcades. That's still going to allow us to swing in. And we'll decide exactly how we want to do this swing in. I'm definitely not tapping down Wooded Foothills. And we will, actually, we'll leave up Seaside Citadel. That way, just in case something happens to our Chromatic Lancer, we still have access to whatever mana we need. So let's have all Arcades come down. We can swing in. Do we want to try to knock out... Well, actually, if we don't swing in our opponent... Yeah, because if they go for the +1, yeah... That happens. But I guess technically either way, yeah, let's do this. So let's swing in Wall of Junk at our opponent. Yeah, I like that. Because if we swing in at Nicol Bolas, it's just delaying the turn. So if we can get in for 9, that makes it to where we might be able to grind something out. So let's go and swing it for 9. That's going to knock our opponent down to 13. And then anything else, pass it over to our opponent. So we do have the Arcades line of play. Luckily, we can still at least cast Arcades next turn because that's going to put us down to 5 with the card draw. We'll see what else they have in store. There's going to be another card draw. Let's go Worldly Tutor in response to that. Because that'll put us down to 3, and then we draw for the turn. That'll put us down to 1. And then that forces us blocking Arcadia on... Oh, okay. Oh, they've got Dragon's Horde on there, too. All right, so that's going to put us down. I don't think there's anything we can do during our upkeep to close this one out. So good sequencing by our opponent with that Dragon's Horde. Yeah, with that Omnixilus Ultimate, it's one of those things to where it does close the game out, but with the board state, we could have ground it out. So at this point, we don't want any extra card draw. I guess... We just, what do we grab off of this? Unfortunately, Tetsuko got milled into our graveyard. Yeah, maybe just Wall of Denial. Either way, we're just not really, I guess we just grab the cheapest defender we can, because either way, it's just not going to matter. We're simply going to lose during our upkeep. So we'll just toss something on top of our library. If they do decide to swing it, we have to exile a card from our hand or a permanent we control. Let's go and exile the Omnixilus Ultimate. I mean, the emblem. That'll be good. I think what we'll do is we'll get rid of a forest. I wish that we could do that. That'd be pretty cool. Exile the forest, and then that's going to be another card draw. Puts us down to 1, and then we will pass the turn. If they have another way to draw cards, they've certainly got it. They can also probably, yeah, actually, now that I think about it, they can pay the mana and get Nicol Bolas to flip. So good game to our opponent. That was a lot of fun. It's always nice to be able to... take a Grixis deck, especially Nicol Bolas Grixis deck, to turn 10 with a bunch of defenders. That's a pretty good feeling. So opponent's going to go for the flavor win, go for the plus off of Omnixilus, draw some cards out, and close the game out. So good game to them. That was some really nice sequencing. They got some really good threats out there. We dealt with the threats, but ultimately they're able to close it out with Omnixilus, making him very happy. But anyways, if you enjoyed the video, hey, like and subscribe. Thanks. Bye.